I don't want to go back to school. Just kidding. Hi everybody, welcome to Talk and Chalk. I'm Beck. I'm an assistant principal in Southwest Sydney, and for the next few weeks I get the absolute privilege of being the relieving principal at my school. I've done it for a few weeks now and I've done it a couple of times before, so I'm not too nervous, but there's lots of things going on at the time. However, it means that over the school holidays, we don't stop as teachers anyway, but I've got different things on my mind throughout the holidays that don't just pertain to what I do, but what everyone on our team does. It's a different way to go through the holidays, but I like to report that I wasn't overly stressed. I still had lots of chill time, touched base with colleagues, and, spent time with friends and family, which was good. So there are some people in Australia at the moment that have already been back to work. You're doing a great job. So this will be the end of week 1 for you guys. But for those of us in my system, we're in New South Wales, we're heading back tomorrow. Most of us are heading back for a staff development day. Some people in the private, independent / Catholic system have students starting back straight away. I don't know how you guys do that, having the kids back on the first day. I find it hard enough to get into work mode as it is for staff development day, but doing it with the kids on day 1, hats off to you guys. I don't know how you do it. I can imagine that would be quite chaotic as well when you have your staff development days at a later time and then parents having to coordinate, carers and things like that. I'm assuming that's not always easy for you guys. Regardless though, so if you're new to the channel, welcome. Sometimes I just ramble on and share my thoughts, and this is kind of one that I'm doing today. I'm going to go through my checklist of things that I do to get back into the work mode. So if you're new here, subscription button and everything is down below. I'm also on Facebook and Pinterest and Instagram and Twitter. So I'll put my links up here for now. Or not links, you can see my names up there. So, if you want to follow along there, always welcome to. My Twitter is a really good one to follow because I share lots and lots of things specifically pertaining to my role and what I do in my context, in my school and in my system. Insta is good just for inspiration and stuff like that. And Facebook is generally just where I share everything as much as I can. So getting into it today, I wrote down sort of the main things that I've done to start getting back into work mode. I'm filming this Sunday in the middle of the day, just after lunchtime. So I'm going to film it, put it straight up, ready to go. And what I've done so far, what I'm going to do is what I'm going to share. And then I'm also going to share things that I did in my teacher headspace when I was on class and what I would do to get prepped for the term. So these are just my checklists of things. So if you're new here, I'm no expert. This is just me sharing what works for me in my context. And I guess I feed off the experiences of people that I've worked with as well and put that into my context and my application, and it's what works for me. May or may not work for you, and I'd love to hear if you do something different. Pop it in the comments so that our colleagues that read through the comments can see them too, and then tag and share. So main thing is obviously make sure clothes and everything is set up for the week, not just for myself but for my kids. So I'm making sure their uniforms are ready. I know they've got their athletics carnival this Thursday, so I've got to make sure sport uniforms and everything are ready to go, 2 lots because they've still got sport on Friday. And then my work clothes for the week. So I forgot that I had ripped a hole in my stockings when I went to a conference in the holidays. Hello to those people that I met at the On Butterfly Wings conference. I'm looking forward to 2020. It was really good. At the moment, I'm gearing up for the Science and Maths conference in October. So I might share those things in the description below so that you can head over and check out that information. Share it on social media anyway. So I had to go buy new stockings though. That's me rambling on. So I'm not quite in my headspace yet. So I had to go buy new stockings. I went and bought a bit of new makeup. And I bought a new jacket for myself as well these holidays. So I'm just making sure though, wardrobe wise, which is right here because I'm sitting on my bedroom floor, all of that stuff is ready to go for the week. So making sure I've got that ready to go for myself and the kids. Lunches, I'm not the greatest at lunch prep, especially in winter because I kind of delve into naughty foods in winter. So what I've got in the freezer is a bunch of frozen meals, lean cuisine, Weight Watchers meals that are cheap and easy so that if I'm too tired to prep something the night before or, have slept in or whatever, I can just grab that and go. And I'm not going to, give in to temptation and go over to the shops next door to my school and go get some hot chips or something like that. It's expensive. It's not good for me and, wastes time. So having all my lunches for at least a week prepped and ready to go because the first week we're still getting back into routine. So what I have done this morning is logged on and just caught up on emails. I turned off email notifications on my phone just for a bit of good work-life balance, good mental health balance. I don't want to have those things and the expectation, oh my gosh, I have to stop what I'm doing at the moment, stop time with my kids at the moment to be able to reply to that. I choose when I sit down and look at those things. So there's a couple of emails there that I need to respond to and that I need to forward out to my team as well. So once I'm done with all of this and the kids are quiet and settled for the afternoon, I'll sit down and do that. So just making sure I go through that. I go through the school calendar as well, just to remind myself what's coming up, especially in the first week, if things are happening in that first week and I need to be prepared, meetings, training, things like that. And looking at the rest of the term, not ignoring the rest of the term because there's other things coming up, which I'll get into. Filling in my teacher diary with those important dates and events and things like that, just making sure that I've gone through for at least this term, marked out week 1, week 2, week 3, looked at the dates, any training, any special meetings. For example, I've got to go to a principals network meeting week 2, I think it is, on the Friday morning, and it starts at like 7:30 in the morning. So make sure that's in my teacher diary as well as my phone so that I remind myself I have to get up early that day. Then I write up my to-do list for week 1 specifically. So I have a spot in my teacher diary for that. And I have done a video on what my diary looks like. It's from Creator Publishing. It's really good. You can personalize it. Check out that video. I highly recommend that company for their calendars, teacher diaries. And then what I do, putting my principal's hat on, is I go in and double check that any leave that's being taken by teachers has been covered by my exec team with casuals. So we have a OneNote folder just for executive for all of those kinds of things, like the budget, the finance, the casuals, the contracts, all that sort of thing. So all of that is in there. So all I'm doing is touching base and making sure those things have been done. So that's all sorted. As a teacher, I make sure that I have my first week of work prepped. So, if you've got an art activity that you need resources for, just making sure they're there. You don't want to leave that to the last minute, then find that the resources aren't there. I don't like the idea of falling behind in the first week because there's no way you're going to catch up from the very first week. So things like having it done, getting a draft timetable together, because if you don't have a timetable, that's usually the thing that keeps you accountable and on top of things. So even just a draft one that says, I'm doing this for this week. If RFF changes, if community languages changes, that's fine. I'll change my timetable, but I need something for the very first week. Double checking your scope and sequences from your school to make sure that you're on track with the right units, making sure you've got the right units for that term. If there's any excursions coming up, making sure that what you've mapped out leads towards that excursion properly, just having it in the back of your mind, not necessarily sitting down and having everything done, just being aware that that's coming. And special events, this is what I was talking about, special events. Week 3 this week is education week. Week 3 this term is education week. And book week is week 5. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's week 5, at least on my school calendar, we're doing it in week 5. And I think this year is something around, I think it's my secret power. I think that's the theme, that's the book. So there's a book week website that you can go to, and I'm very, very sure most of your schools are all doing some kind of dress up activity for that week. You need to get in early. So eBay has some great places where you can get cheap costumes. There's one based in Sydney. I think they're called Oz costumes, OZ costumes. Cheap, good quality. I got my Harry Potter costume from there, which is still great quality now. I got a Queen of Hearts costume from there, and I ordered something else. Oh, Harley Quinn outfit from there too. So that is good quality as well and really affordable. And I think they do free shipping too. So you can check them out. Or your local discount party shop places are always good too, but they sell out quick as soon as they start advertising for book week. So talk to your team. It's always fun to do something as a group and get a theme going. And that makes for good photos too. So also on top of getting in early, borrowing books and equipment. So get into the library. There's not always lots of copies of the things that you want, especially if you want a big book. Equipment, if you need to borrow things from the maths storeroom, the literacy storeroom, the art, the science, whatever, get in early and get those things before they run out, because we're in the new financial year. So it's not always easy to get those things really quickly if you need to order something online. And if you need something for, before week 5, and then you suddenly realize week 1 you've got to order it, may not come in time if you're ordering through school. If you can just go to Big W and pick it up, that's not a problem. But, if it's something that's meant to be coming from school resources, just getting quickly to do that. If you have any variations to routine, like incursions, or if you've got any excursions, get in early with that. Please be mindful of whole school events when you're organising those things. Please don't leave it to the last minute. I personally am one of those parents that hates getting a note 2 weeks beforehand that says I've got to pay $50 per kid to go on an excursion. If you're like me, well, you are teachers, we get paid fortnightly. There are some families out there that get paid monthly. So we really need to be mindful of those things when we're organising those events. And book into spaces early. If you need to book the hall, the computer lab, if you've got a maker space or a green screen space, try and say that 10 times fast, book those in early as well. Get in, like, even if you're not like you're needing it till week 7, book it now so that someone doesn't take it off you when it gets closer to the event. Overall, I personally prefer to use extra time in week 1 to get things prepped for the term rather than play catch up later. It's just easier that way. And I know that's like a duh thing to say, but putting it into action is always harder because we're in week 1, we're rushed, lots of things are going on, it can get chaotic, parents can be in your face. Sometimes kids don't start on the first day and then they're all kind of dribbling in across the week. So it gets hard to say, yes, I'm going to book those things and do those things, as it is to actually doing it. So whether that's on your to-do list or you write this down now, up to you, but just be mindful of it so you get it done in that first week, even if it means staying back an extra 20 minutes to book those things or borrow those things in the day. I recommend doing it that way. So they're just a few things that I do to get prepped for the term. Other little minor things, I went and got my nails done so I feel fresh and ready to go. That was mother-daughter time. I went with my daughter. She had hers done like piano keys, so she had black and white done, and that was a lovely sweet way to sort of spend time with her before we go back to school. But other than that, I think it's really good for you guys if you can try and get into that excited mode, which hubby always says I get excited before going back into the term because I love my job. I love what I do. I miss my family and my kids, obviously, but I love what I do, which is why I'm excited to go back to school. I know it's not always easy to do that, though, especially if, you're a new parent and you're leaving a baby at home and you're finding it hard to go in. If you're a newlywed and you don't want to leave your partner going in as well. If you're going through a hard time in your life as well, medical issues, or if you've just been through divorce or a death in the family or something like that, this could be really, really, really hard for you to do. I want you to know you're not the only one. There's always someone out there to talk to. We always have support assistance lines in our employee programs. We've all got different ones that we have, but they're there and available for you. You can always go to your doctor and get one of the mental health care plans and talk to someone. Please don't go to work thinking you have to go with the world on your shoulders. There are always options there. It just takes, I guess, you being able to either pick up the phone or ask to talk to someone, and putting my relieving principal hat on. Please talk to your supervisor or a peer and just, let them know what's going on with you so that they can support you as best as they can. Ultimately, we want to make sure that you're happy at work, that you enjoy your job. We want to make sure that whatever is going on with you doesn't negatively affect our students as well. So that sounds like a horrible way to leave it today, but I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully you feeling a little bit supported. I'm always happy to, chat to people, send me a message on Facebook or Pinterest or Insta or whatever. I always respond to you guys. Maybe not straight away, but I always do respond. So I'll leave it there. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, the button is going to come down here and I'll put another video at the top there. There's lots to choose from. I've no idea how many there are now. I know there's over 100 though. So I'll leave it there. Have a great start to the term, everyone. Bye.